All right, Shalom. First off, all praises, admiration, honor, and glory goes to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakah HaKodash, and double honor to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. All right, first off, I want to say Shalom to the ones that push this word out in truth and in sincerity, which are the apostles and elders on down to the brothers. And Shalom to the ones that endured this faith until the very end, until the time of Jacob's troubles, which are again the apostles and elders on down to the brothers and a few sisters. Right, so Shalom. So before I get into pretty much this, I'm gonna start off with this scripture. This is Isaiah 13 and 19. Right, this pretty much sums up the topic that I'm going into. It says, "And Babylon, the glory of kingdoms, the beauty of the Chaldees' excellency, shall be as when Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah." Right? So, first off, man, people hype up America too much, right? Because America is always been proven through the scriptures, man. That's actually a prophecy, right? Because all throughout the scriptures, even this right here prophesied that America has that spirit of pride, right? Because the rulers of darkness, that's their spirit. It's pride. They're transgressed by wine, right? I mean, in their pride. Even throughout the book of Obadiah, it shows that this man has excessive pride. So America being, the daughter of Babylon, right? Babylon the Great, which is all wicked empires formed as one, right? So of course they got they got the biggest pride on this planet. But when you read this scripture in another translation, I can't remember which one, but it said it actually called Babylon the jewel of kingdoms, right? Because that's what they look at this place as, right? They look at this place as the jewel of kingdoms, right? Like it can't be touched. So that's why in what was it, Isaiah 31:1? I believe it was Isaiah 31:1 or Jeremiah. It was Isaiah, right? Where it said, "Woe to them that go down to Egypt for help and trust in horses," right? It will stay on horses and trust in chariots, right? Because they are many. They trust in their military. They trust in their military might. That's why even with the statue of Babylon, not the statue of Daniel, Salakia, the statue of Daniel, the iron was what? The Roman Empire. The Roman Empire was, classified as the iron because of their high military might, their weaponry. That's what they look at this place as. That's where they get their, military stature from. Because they're high on weapons. But other countries are high on weapons too. That's the one thing that they don't ever like to say. So, this is something I've been researching on a little bit. Because people like to say that Putin, he ain't gonna launch no nukes at all because he's afraid to, and they got this moral standard. All these countries got this moral standard: never be the first to launch a nuclear weapon and all this other shit. Knowing damn well through the spirit of power of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua, man, if Putin wanted to launch them nukes, man, he still would. Right? He ain't got to go through no Senate or some, branches and shit just to, all this process just to make a simple move. Right, man? Because Putin is a king. Simple as that. So, Russia has, and I'll break all this down, man. Russia, although it already says it, but Russia has this during the Union, which was around what, the 1950s, 40s, probably 60s, right? They created this is early AI, if you want to think about it. They call it the dead hand, also known as the perimeter system, right? This, long story short, is a AI system that they created where if any top official high command is killed, nobody is able to launch the nukes, it would do it itself. It's like an auto aim system. It will do it itself. Wherever it's coming from, it will launch every single missile on its own. So America, you kill all their command, that ain't gonna work, man. Because Russia's still gonna launch them nukes. Because they got a whole AI system that they created back in the 50s. So, and people like to say that this AI system, the dead hand, don't work anymore, or it's unknown if it still exists. Obviously, it still exists. In fact, it's kind of been confirmed that it still exists and it's still in play. But people like to downplay it so much, man, because that American spirit. So I'm gonna go through each of these functions and mechanics of how it works, right? It says the dead hand system was designed as a failed deadly mechanism, pretty much a fail-safe, to guarantee mutually assured destruction, which is MAD. Activation. The system is switched on by a high official during a crisis. It then goes into a semi-dormant state, constantly checking for signs of a nuclear attack, right? And obviously, the system has been on for quite some decades. Because when it was first created, it was actually turned on by a high official. So they ain't got to do that no more. It's been on and still is to this day. Detection. The system uses various sensors to detect a potential nuclear strike on Russian territory, such as seismic activity, changes in air pressure, extreme light, and radioactivity. If an attack is detected, the system first checks communication lines to determine if anyone in the military high command is still alive and capable of giving an order. If the system concludes that a nuclear strike has occurred, right now this is retaliation. If the system concludes that a nuclear strike has occurred and Central Command is incapacitated, which is silenced, it takes over and initiates a full-scale counterattack, meaning it activates the nuclear weapons. Launch sequence. This involves launching special command missiles from hardened underground silos that fly across Russia, broadcasting the launch signal and authorization codes to all remaining intercontinental ballistic missiles, right? ICBMs, as we all know about, to launch at predefined targets across northern hemisphere, the northern hemisphere. So people again like to say that this don't work anymore. Obviously, if they build something like this, it's going to be still in play. So you got a whole early AI system that obviously got upgrades throughout the years, where it detects that any type of nuclear weapons or attacks is against Russia, it's going to launch every single one of them. And people say, you know what? And this is what I'm talking about, man. This is prophesied through the scriptures, man. This is prophesied that people will have, that Babylonian spirit, right? The pride. So this is Jeremiah. What was it? Jeremiah 50 and 31. It says, I am against thee, O thou most proud. Right? Now you read this in another translation. It also says, I am against thee, O thou most arrogant. Right? He calls Babylon arrogant. Because it is, right? The Babylonian spirit, that Western culture is all arrogant. That's why you come out here, man. You see most American niggas, man, especially when they in their 30s, they're the most arrogant. They think that they know something. Me and the elder went to a doctor's office. I believe it was like therapy or something. I don't even know if it was therapy. I can't remember. Got this bold ass nigga with the word what was it, etymology on the wall, asking some dumbass crazy questions that had nothing to do with what we was there for. Purple suit, just that's the spirit of Babylon. That is the spirit of Babylon right there. And that's what most people have, man. That's prophesied all throughout the scriptures. And we can see that is definitely, the scriptures are real, man. Right? That's why, man, we say Thawadi Yahweh Shimi Awashai, man, because the more proud y'all get, the more proud America gets, that's more closer to its downfall, man, because the more proud y'all getting, even up throughout the scriptures, man, it say y'all going to get more and more proud, and then it's going to come as sudden destruction. Right? That's when something like that, and you're witnessing that, that's satisfying. It says, O thou most proud, saith the Lord of God of hosts, for thy day is come, the time that I will visit thee. Right? So the day is coming, man, the time that Lord Yahweh Shemi Shai, man, will visit this place. And when the Lord visits, man, it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be Sodom and Gomorrah all over again, 10 times worse. Right? This place is going to be utterly destroyed. Right? So let's see if y'all going to have that same mindset in the last days where, oh yeah, that's old technology and it ain't going to work no more. And let's see what y'all got to say. Right? Because a lot of things are still in the play. And the fact that most of these countries still got all these nuclear weapons obviously shows that something's going to happen. Right? Because most of these countries all got nuclear weapons, and they quote unquote said to have banned nuclear weapons after what happened with Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But clearly they still got them. So why do they still have them if they vowed to never use that stuff again? Right? Because they saw how dangerous it was. They called the nuclear weapons an inhumane weapon. But obviously it's still here for a reason. Right? Because they're planning. And that's the Lord's doing. The Lord allowed this man to create something that splits atoms. Right? They as the elder here of Baltimore brings out, they're working on a nuclear weapon. I believe you call it an antimatter, right? A matter antimatter. Shit like that. Shit that ruptures atoms. Shit that'll just destroy and obliterate everything. And y'all keep playing with the Lord. So by the Lord's will, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakahakodash, and Shalom.